Today we have lots of stories to talk about. We're going to talk about COVID on a cruise ship, Starlink, updates from Alaska, really big news in from Bar Harbor, Maine, and how their limit on cruise passengers is going. We've got a Let's Go family member there right now today. We're going to also talk about a travel warning, what I think is really important for you to know if you're going to sail out of Miami. So much to talk about. So let's go ahead and get started. Hi there, this is Allison with Let's Go Travel Tips. Today is Wednesday, it is May 17th of 2023, and let's start at the top with COVID on a cruise ship. We've got a Let's Go family member who happens to be on the Emerald Princess on a sailing to Hawaii. It set sail on May 4th and will return on May 20th. She said that they just heard from the captain that there are several cases of COVID on board. They will be taking protective measures. Other than giving them masks and letting them know about, social distancing, she doesn't know what else they'll be doing, but she said it is a very full cruise, and so she'll let us know any other updates. Now, I know we're to the point with COVID that there is COVID everywhere. It seems like it's important to update, though, I feel like, with what's going on different cruise ships. And we will hear kind of how things end up going on the Emerald Princess. Every time I talk to you about COVID, I always feel like I need to add, I am one of those people that I really think that you can catch COVID on a cruise ship. You can catch it at church, you can catch it at the grocery store, you can catch it at school, you can catch it at work. And so it doesn't make me worry, but I do know that people like to keep track of what's going on, and we all need to be wise with our management of that. Now, the next exciting thing, at least really exciting to me, is Holland America is reporting that they have been testing out the Starlink that they installed on the Koningsdam, and if you are not aware, she is sailing round trip to Alaska right now out of Vancouver. That's the ship I got to go on last year, and it is working splendidly. And so I am so excited. It'll be fun to see if the Eurodom is getting Starlink soon, or if perhaps she even already has it. So 10 days from today is the day we set sail on the Eurodom out of Seattle. And so I will let you know when we get on board what the internet's like, how it's going, and if we indeed have Starlink or not. I am so excited for that cruise. Whether we have Starlink or not, it's going to be amazing because it's going to Alaska. We'll have some Let's Go family members with us. I am really excited about it. Alrighty, let's talk about Alaska for a few minutes. First of all, I heard from a Let's Go family member who was actually in Skagway yesterday. This happens to be their very first cruise. They've got their little family with them, and they are having a wonderful time. So I wanted, first of all, to let you know that they're having a wonderful time, that the Grand Princess, they are enjoying everything. They're enjoying the pools. They're just enjoying their whole experience on the ship, and they thoroughly enjoyed Skagway yesterday. She was kind enough to send me some photos, and so those are included here as I tell you about it. I wanted to let you know that she said everything. So that one photo shows the little tenders going between the ship that is pulled up alongside the dock there that has that landslide from last year. So those of you that haven't seen any photos of that yet, there is a photo. You can clearly tell where the landslide was. You can see the dirt coming down, and that really long pier there, that dock where they usually can put two really big ships. So they're clearly just using it for one this year, but that shows how those tenders are working. Like I said, if you are brand new here, they are having to run some tenders from ships that were not originally considered tender ports there in Skagway. So keep an eye on your itinerary and be ready for that. And you can watch some of the videos that I have done with some suggestions on what to do. The other thing that I wanted to tell you about the Grand Princess is the other evening in our live, we were talking about, people were wondering, should I take the Grand? Should I take the Sapphire Princess? And I said, well, the Sapphire Princess. I wanted to just clarify that a little bit if I wasn't super clear then. So the Grand Princess is a splendid ship, as is the Sapphire Princess. I think that the Sapphire Princess is maybe 4 years newer than the Grand Princess, so there is not a lot of age difference there. The main difference in my mind is that the Sapphire Princess still has the Skywalker's Lounge up on deck 17 across the back where there are such beautiful views. But there is nothing wrong with the Grand Princess, and that is surely not a deal breaker. So I just wanted to make sure everyone knows that the Grand Princess is a great ship. You probably, if you've been here for a while, remember us talking about the electrical problems that they had at the end of their South Pacific cruise not too long ago. those have all been taken care of. They were taken care of right away there once they reached Hawaii, and then on the way back to Los Angeles. Everything has been going great on the Grand Princess, and so if you have a cruise booked on the Grand Princess, I think it's wonderful. Would I book a cruise on the Grand Princess? Absolutely. If she's going where I want to go, I would absolutely book a cruise on the Grand Princess. Now, really quickly, another thing about Seattle is a Let's Go family member was so kind to send me the link for the quick shuttle. The quick shuttle goes between, among other places, it will go between Seattle and Vancouver. It's a really good thing just to have in your pocket, something to be aware of in case something falls through with your transportation if you need to travel between Seattle and Vancouver by land. So Gordon will add that link down below this video. So if you aren't familiar, I feel like I should say this. A long time ago I did a video about showing you how just to use YouTube a little bit. But when you look underneath this video, there's a drop down box, and if like on some, I think if you're watching on your mobile phone, you'll see a little down arrow, and you click on that and some more things will drop down and you can see the show more. And if you're just watching on your computer, you can see that show more, and then it opens up with more information. So that's where the link will be, but it's quickcoach.com. Alrighty. Another thing that I think is really important to know is how crowded the ports are this year, and I'm going to talk to you a little bit more about why that maybe matters a little bit late in this video, so don't leave. But we've got Let's Go family members who are on a 14-day cruise, and so it put them in Skagway twice. And this week is the second week of their cruise. So last week when they were in Skagway, they said that there were just, when they were there last week, I feel like there were only 2 ships in port. This week there are 4 ships in port. There was the Grand Princess, the Royal Princess, the Koningsdam, and a celebrity ship. And so they said it was super, super busy in town. So Skagway is not a really big town. They've got some national park places there, which definitely go. If you're going to Skagway, go see those national park places. I tell you that in my video, but definitely go do that. And then they've got some shopping. They've got some ice cream shops. They've got a place to get, I think they call it fry bread. Where I live here in Utah, we call them scones. It's not like a scone is in England, but it is, it's really good. They just take dough and stretch it out, and then they deep fry it, and then you put sugar or cinnamon on it. They have a place that has that. I showed that in my video from last year. But anyway, it's just a fun town to walk around and see some of the history. Anyway, it was really, really crowded this week. And so let us know what it's like on the days that you're there. And you know what? I'm one of those people. I'm just delighted to be where I am. So if it's crowded for me, I don't mind. Maybe you have to stand in line for ice cream a little bit longer. Maybe you see a few more people. But it doesn't bother me because I'm happy to be there. Now, another thing, and this is really helpful, so pay attention here. So the Port of Seattle runs their Port Valet that makes it so that when you put your luggage out the night before you disembark your cruise, they take it, and then you don't see it again until it gets to your the baggage claim in your home city after you've flown home. So often it costs per bag, though, if you want to do that. For at least now, and I don't know for how long, that Port Valet is free there in the port in Seattle. So the way that it works is the night before your cruise ends, you can, once you sign up, you'll receive your airline boarding passes and special luggage tags from your ship's cruise. So if you go down and sign up for this down at customer service, then they will bring this to you the night before. Okay, so you attach those tags to the bags that you want to do, and then you just put them out in the hall like we're all used to on the last night of a cruise. If you are very new to cruising, the last night before you disembark, the night before disembarkation, you have to have your luggage out in the hall other than like a carry bag that you want to be in charge of through the whole disembarkation process. So unless you're taking your own bags off, put your luggage out in the hall. I will tell you, some people, no matter when they're getting off the ship, take their own luggage off. And you know what? It's a hassle because you're trying to, and I've done this, so I know not to do that unless you really need to. The only times we've done it is when we really needed to. but you have to pull your luggage. It's a hassle to pull it on the carpet. The elevators are always so full, and so unless you really have to disembark early and you want to have your luggage with you for that, which if you have an early flight, definitely do that. Otherwise, let them manage your luggage for you. So anyway, so you put the luggage out, then the next day you can go do whatever you want. If you've got a later flight, you can go sightseeing and you're not worrying about your luggage. And then when you get to the airport, you just go ahead and go, because they've given you your boarding pass. They've checked your luggage. You just go ahead and go through security, go to your gate, fly home, and then when you get home, you can collect your luggage at the baggage claim. They do have it so that you can track your luggage and see where it is during the process with them. There's an email that they'll give you at that time, but it's like portvalet.maketraveleasier.com. And then also, as we talk about here often, put your air tags, your tile, whatever it is that you use to track things in your bag as well, because then you'll know where it is, if anything. I like to keep an eye on my luggage, so that'll be handy. Now, the airlines that are participating in that are all the major airlines. So American, Delta, Alaska, JetBlue, Southwest, and United. So it seems like an awful lot of airlines are participating. So that should come in really handy. If you have any other questions about Alaska, put them in the comments, send me an email, and I'll share it with all of you. Now, the next thing that I think is so important to talk about is the United States government has upgraded their travel warning for travel to Jamaica. And it is based on a few things. The main things that it is based on that they cite in their report is the amount of violence that is going on there, and that often the police there either don't respond or they don't respond in a timely manner, and that even if you have an emergency, like a medical emergency, they cannot guarantee how quickly or if you're going to get medical care. And so that is why they have raised the travel warning to a level 3 now to not travel there. So they do have some guidelines that they suggest. So I know if we go there, so Gordon and I last November, we went to Jamaica on a cruise. I would definitely say stick with an excursion, so that then you're with more people. You are with a group from the ship, and you know me, Gordon and I have done lots of excursions with TripAdvisor. We have done some in some places where you get someone right when you get off the ship. So we have done those, but going to somewhere like Jamaica, I definitely recommend doing one with a cruise ship, because then you're not only with a group, but you're with the group from the ship. They also say that if you are there on your own, like if someone knocks on your hotel room door at night, don't answer it, or at any time. Don't be very careful at night. And then the other thing was, like, don't physically resist an attempted robbery. If they're holding you up and they want to rob you, just give them what they want, so that you don't get hurt as much, hopefully. So I just felt like I should let you know this. I am confident that if the cruise lines take you to Jamaica, they feel like they can assure your safety. And I feel like, as well, like I said with the excursions, they feel like they can assure your safety on the cruise ship and in any excursions that they would offer. I would say that if you go off and do your own thing, or if you go off and go with someone else on an excursion, that no longer are you in what they thought they could control. That's just my 2 cents. Tell me in the comments what you think, okay? Now, tell me also in the comments, have you ever cruised out of Miami? Because I've thought of a few things that would be really helpful, but I want those of you who have done it, and I know that there are those of you that have done it so many more times than I have, to let us know in the comments what you suggest as well. The headline caught my eye that on April 9th, Miami had 67,594 cruise passengers processed getting on and off of cruise ships there in the port of Miami. That's huge. That's like 3 times as big as, or maybe more, the town that I live in. And so while that day in port, they had 8 different ships. I'll tell you for fun. They had the Carnival Celebration, the Carnival Horizon, Explorer of the Seas, which Gordon and I sailed out of Miami, the MSC Seascape, the Norwegian Encore that we also sailed out of Miami on, the Oasis of the Seas, the Seabourn Ovation, and the Scarlet Lady. Those were all in port on that day, if you can believe it or not. So with that congestion, and you know what, we didn't even have that. Clearly, this was a record, so we didn't have that many people in port on the days that we were sailing on the Explorer of the Seas and the Norwegian Encore last November, but it was really, really crowded. And because of that experience, I'm going to tell you a few things that I hope will help you a little bit if you're going to be cruising in or out of Miami. So first of all, be aware that the traffic there is miserable. So leave early for your embarkation time. And if you are at the airport and you're taking the shuttle with the cruise line, then you don't have to worry about it. But if you are staying at a hotel and or with friends, whatever, bake in extra time for your embarkation time, because it was so trafficy, and I don't know that the traffic flow works there as smoothly as it could, just based on the few times that I've been there. So just extra time to get to embarkation. And in the morning when you are going to get off the ship, if you have an early flight, be really early and get off early and get going as quickly as you can, because disembarkation on both of the cruises with Royal Caribbean's Explorer of the Seas and Norwegian's Encore, they were both slow disembarkation times. And I will say on the Norwegian one, we were towards the end of the disembarkation time, and because of our flight time. And don't be towards the end of the disembarkation time. Even if you don't have to be off as early to be early for a flight, I recommend being in an earlier disembarkation group. And I'll tell you why in just a minute. Be aware that there are long waits at it. So when we boarded Explorer of the Seas, the boarding process was really much smoother. It was a little bit of a wait, but not a long time. For the Norwegian Encore, it was very much delayed. Now, I don't know how much of it is always that slow. I hear it's often very slow there, but we happened to be boarding the Norwegian Encore the week after. Remember when the gangway fell on the Panama Canal cruise, when it was in one of the ports? I can't remember which port now, but it fell, and people were on it and they got injured. Well, they had to replace the gangplank that day, and so we were very delayed getting on. But like I said, people that have gone out of there a lot on Norwegian say it is often delayed. So just be aware of that. They did have somewhere to sit, though, both for Royal Caribbean and for Norwegian. So you don't have to worry so much as what we're hearing in Seattle with nowhere to sit. So they do have somewhere to sit, but bring a snack, bring a bottle of water, whatever it is that you need if you're going to be waiting somewhere a few hours longer than you expected. Definitely bring that with you. Now, disembarkation. When you disembark, I would say for both, get a porter. Yes, you need to give the porter a good tip, but what they'll do is if you ask for a porter, they will bring their cart and they will come with you, help you get your luggage from the place where your luggage is in the color-coded area, and then they will take you through customs, a faster lane there, and they will take you out to the curb. And they do a really nice job of like weaving their way through and planting you right at the curb there where it's easy to catch, whether you were hoping for an Uber or a taxi or someone else is picking you up, whatever method you're going to leave. Be aware that the later you get and that disembarkation time, that you not only have lots of people disembarking, but you have a lot of people coming for embarkation. So as we stood there waiting for our Uber, there were lots of people pulling up to the pickup drop-off zone there, getting out to come on the next cruise. While so many of us were still waiting to get picked up from the cruise that we were on, the traffic was horrendous. Our Uber took, gosh, I don't remember, I want to say at least 45 minutes to an hour to get to us. It was, I would say it's ridiculous, but it's just the way it was. So allow that extra time in for what time you need to be to the airport or anything else you were doing. But like I say, I would get off earlier so that I didn't have to wait with such bad traffic and everyone coming for the next cruise the same time I was trying to leave. Hopefully some of that will help you as you do it. And like I said, those of you that have done it lots more than we have, please put in the comments if you have any other suggestions. Now, this is really, really big. So we've got a Let's Go family member who was in Bar Harbor, Maine today. They've been in Bar Harbor. They went over to Peggy's Cove to see the lighthouse there. But in the course of them being there in Bar Harbor, they aren't on a cruise, but they were speaking with people who run the shops there and people that live there and how things are going with cruising, because they're Let's Go family members and they enjoy cruising as well. They've got a New England cruise booked, and so they were just seeing what was going on. So if you're new here, back, I think it was in March, Bar Harbor voted to start allowing many fewer cruise passengers than they have historically allowed. They figured that having so many people come into their town every day was affecting their quality of life. And so they did vote to make it so that now they're only going to allow 3,500 to 3,800 people per day and it depends on like what season you're in, how many they will allow in the port at the same time. So that really cuts back the number of cruise ships that can call. She said that they mentioned to her today that they are not letting cruise ships dock that have more than 1,000 passengers. So I am not sure if they're having them tender. They said that they are having them stagger their arrival time. So I don't know if they're having them tender if they have more than 1,000 passengers. She also said that they allow just 8 excursion buses a time. So they'll let 8 excursion buses go, and they don't let 8 more excursion buses go until that 8 has come back. So keep this in mind as you're booking your excursions. You might want to, if you want to go further afield and be on an excursion, I would say book your excursions soon and book them for the earliest slot of the day. You know how sometimes they run them more than once? Definitely book them soon and for the earlier departure time. So it'll be really interesting to hear. I would love to hear from any of you who have been on a cruise yet to New England this year. I'm excited to see how all this works out. So let us know any updates, those of you who are on a cruise ship. That will really help all of us. What else do I want to tell you here? There's a lot of help wanted signs there. So that can also be impacting a little bit how they are running things. She was sweet and sent me a photo of it. So it's absolutely beautiful there. But it seems like they're everywhere. Like here we have lots of help wanted signs in lots of places. Looks like they're having that trouble there a lot. So they are not also able to accommodate as many people in their businesses as they maybe used to be able to. Then finally, and this is really interesting to me, she said as she is there, rumor has it there that Alaska might be looking at limiting the number of cruise passengers they allow in some of their ports. And I'll talk to you a little bit more about that another day. But just like Bar Harbor got to the point that they thought that they had too many on a daily basis, it'll be interesting to see if Alaska follows suit with that. You know, when I think about the two, and tell me what you think, because I have not been to Bar Harbor, Maine yet. It is on our cruise itinerary for the New England Canada cruise that Gordon and I are taking in September, but it doesn't, but to me it's a little bit different. So you have Alaska, and like when people go to Skagway, really those cruise passengers and those few months right there are when overwhelmingly the people there earn their money to sustain them for the rest of the year. A lot of the shops there, most of the shops there are privately owned. Of course there are ones that are owned by the cruise lines, but a lot of them are privately owned, and so that is really their time to earn their living. Bar Harbor, Maine, though, at the same time, I know a lot of people who have been to Bar Harbor just on vacation, or they go to New England and that is one of the places that they visit while they're there. I would like to drive there sometime. We often go visit our son and his family in Boston. I think it would be really fun sometime to just drive up and see that region. So that's a lot different. You can't just drive, you can drive in Alaska, of course, but it's a lot different than just driving up to Maine, and just a kind of a different thing. So I don't know if the economic impact there of the cruise passengers will affect, will kind of make it so that they don't limit quite so much. It'll just be really interesting to see. So put in the comments what you think we'll be looking at next from that. I think that there's a lot of changes coming when we look at where we are before COVID started and we look at where we are today. It is different. Things are changing, and I would say our world is changing. And so we have to balance that fine line between keeping what we really enjoy and what we're looking for, and also at the same time realizing where we stand today. I think that applies to a lot of the changes we're seeing in cruising. So tell me what you think below. Tell me what you think the changes are that we are seeing in cruising that are economically driven, like not quite as good a food, not quite as many server, not as large a crew for having a full ship, things like that. Tell me how much you think of that as economically driven, and then some changes that are coming to cruising just because things are changing and we're not going to go back to where we were before. Like I said, I think the key is to enjoying where we are and taking advantage of the opportunities that we have now, while still fondly remembering what we had before, and maybe, making some changes in who we travel with, if that's what's required to get the experience that we want. I would love to hear from all of you on that. So if you haven't subscribed yet, would you please subscribe? We'd love to have you with us. We need you with us. And also, if you appreciate these updates, would you please give this video a thumbs up? I'll be talking to you all again really soon. You all take really good care. God bless you. Love you.